So while the primer's drying on the bracket, I'm going to sort out the shaft to drive the snowblower. This is the slip yoke. This is the part that goes into the PTO shaft, whatever I decide. I've already started disassembling it, and then I realized that I hadn't been taking video. This goes in like this. It has a quick release. The original one has got two little ball check balls here that would hold a spline shaft in place. It's pretty rusty actually. So it's got a spring. Spring goes that way. This little retaining collar, this slip collar goes this way, and then it's got this snap ring that goes in like that. So I just, with a needle nose pliers, very carefully pull the snap ring off, try not to bend it too bad, and pull it apart. I'm going to try to get these check balls out of here, which shouldn't be that big a deal. Clean this up. And then what I have to figure out, there's a little rusty bunch in there. What I got to figure out is what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to use this. This is a 3/4 inch steel dowel, solid steel. It's straight and true. I rolled it on a piece of glass and it doesn't move, doesn't wiggle. So this is straight. I'm thinking I'm going to use this for the drive shaft because this already is necked down here for whatever this was for. I thought I had a spline shaft that would fit this, but I don't. I stumbled across this. This is an original vice grip. Okay. Made in DeWitt, Nebraska, USA, Peterson Manufacturing Company. And let me tell you why everything's made in China nowadays, and we live in such a disposable society. Look whose name is written in here. Like you would know who this guy is. I didn't even know this man, but I know who he is. Emilio is scratched in here, both sides. This is my great uncle, and he was a mechanic, an auto mechanic, and he's got I inherited a bunch of his tools when my grandfather died. This is my grandfather's brother, my great uncle. Emilio's been dead since 1958 or 1959, I forget. He died in 58 or 59. So unless his ghost is coming back marking tools, this was my great uncle's pair of vice grips from somewhere in the mid to late 50s. So yeah, this tool gets used a lot. I remember using this as a kid a lot, and I was very honored to inherit my grandfather's tools went to my dad, and when my dad passed away, my brother and I split up a bunch of his tools, although you know, we have access to each other, so it's not really split up. They're just in two different locations now. But yeah, why make a tool that's going to last you know, 60 plus years when you can make something in China for cheap, out of cheap crap that's going to break in a couple years, and then you got to buy a new one. But yeah, 58 or 59, I'm gonna have to look into that. I don't remember now. And it's a great tool, vice grip, made in the USA. All right, that's my soapbox. My intention, this is a good cast iron pulley that I dug out of my collection, but the hole's too small, so I'm going to actually tap this hole out. It's got the ability to have a set screw. I'm going to drill this hole out a little larger to accommodate this. Okay, and that's going to be my shaft pulley. And then I need to figure out a way to get this to talk into this. I'm almost thinking, and see, when I'm talking here to the video, guys, I'm just spitballing. I'm just thinking of stuff that's thrown around in my head, and whether they actually come to fruition, it's hard to say. And unfortunately, due to time constraints I have with work and everything, sometimes it's a couple of days before I can upload these videos. So by the time you see them, I've already figured out a solution. However, I do appreciate all your comments, because I don't always have a solution, and sometimes your comments are better than what I thought of, and I will change it. Heard a wise man once say, it doesn't matter if you spend a ton of hours on something, if it's dumb when you're done with it, it's going to always be dumb. So I've done projects where I've spent hours on stuff, and then the finished product just isn't right, so into the pile it goes, and I start again. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because my ultimate goal is to have a good working finished product and not something that's going to piss me off down the road. So I have no attachment to something once I get done with it. So I'm going to clean this up, get these check balls out. Oh, we got it cleaned up real nice. And all right, look at that. Woo! It would be nice. Originally I thought I'd drive a shaft in there and I'd weld it in place. And I still may do that if I get I don't know. I gotta see. Hold on. Let me do a little cleaning. Knock these check balls out. I'll be right back. Okay, so in my typical fashion, I've overthought this. I've probably spent way too much time on this. But I had a change of plan. I don't even know if I'm... Well, I'll upload it. 'Cause this may not work. And if it works, it does. If not, you know, whatever. So, I started digging through my pile of scrap and stuff. And this looks like this is an old pilot tool. Maybe aligning a clutch plate or something, right? Maybe that would go in where the pilot bearing is. And this would line up your clutch friction plate. I guess, I don't know. There's no markings on here. This is in a pile of stuff that I have in an old toolbox that I inherited. And it was being used as some sort of drift pin. It's got hammer marks on the end here and on here. But, so, this may be stupid. Here's what I'm thinking. Okay, follow me on this, and we'll see if I'm on glue. Picked an interesting week to stop sniffing glue. The outer diameter of this pilot tool is perfect for here. And, ironically, this hole here, I don't know why you got this tether. Maybe it's a tether or some way to, I don't know. Doesn't matter. It lines up perfectly with the keeper ball bearings that go in there. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to redneck lathe a spline shaft out of this. Figure out where the lines are, mark some lines on here, come in with a wheel cut and cut my grooves in here on the shaft, and see if I can get it to slide on here. And if I do it so it's lined up this way, the check balls will hold this in. Okay, this is 3/4 inch OD. This old 3/4 inch OD solid steel shaft, looks like it was some kind of jack handle or something at one time, which is in my scrap pile of crap, has got this hole drilled in it, or bored in it, whatever. The ID of this hole is the same as the OD of this step down part. All I need to do is shorten this, and I'm thinking I slip this in here to wherever the stop is, but I'll shorten this, right? I'll shorten this until it butts up against here, and then I can TIG weld it. I'll bevel this end. This end's already beveled. I'll slide it in so it's like that. I'll run a radius, TIG weld around it, TIG weld these little nablins here, and I'll have a solid 3/4 inch shaft, drive shaft, where it necks out to here, and in theory this should slide into here. The only drawback is I need to get this pulley, and the only reason I'm married to this pulley is because it's cast. It's a heavy duty cast pulley, and I think it'll withstand the torture. I have some other pulleys of this size where I think the diameter is 3/4 inch, but it's not that big a deal. I've got, look at how much meat I have here. I could drill this out to a 3/4 inch hole, and I still have tons of meat on here, so likely that's what I'll do. I had already figured I would be boring this hole out anyway to fit whatever drive shaft. I just have to go a little bit bigger. Make that into a 3/4 inch. That'll slide on here, wherever that end is. This goes into here. Weld it and then grind it down so it's smooth, so the carrier bearings will slide on. This slides into here. I'm talking too much. I think I'm on glue. I really think I'm on glue this time. And, well, I'll take you along for the ride, and we'll see how it goes. tight. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay. So I stick welded it. I decided to stick it, as opposed to TIG welding, just because the stick welder was handy. So I'm actually going to come through, I just knocked it down, I'm going to come through with one more pass of 7018 and smooth that out. I'm envisioning the first pillow block will slide over this weld area and hold about right there, and the second one will be somewhere back here. So this welded area was really not going to be a big factor, I'm hoping. This thing rolls true too. I was taking it and rolling it like that, and the end is very, very... Well, you know what, you can tell. Nonetheless, for a homemade spline shaft, drive shaft, that's just cray. They're all just super crusty from setting out in the weather. Crusty, my balls are crusty. So I'm gonna blast my balls, both of them. And yeah, and the sleeve, the collar here, and the spring, and yeah, hang tight. Alright, I'm gonna wrap today up through a fit of Nick Furious work. Drilled out the center hole on this cast iron pulley, 3/4 inch now, so it'll fit on this drive shaft. This is the homemade spline shaft on the old clutch alignment tool. That's where it's welded. Just ran it across the belt sander to kind of polish things up to get the pits and stuff out. I'm going to go ahead and order the pillow blocks tonight, and hopefully they'll be here this week. Got my balls cleaned up in the bead blaster, oiled this whole thing. Works nicely now. Check this out. This thing's still a little bit warm. Let me make sure I get once I get the balls lined up. So I suspect that there was a groove cut in here originally, but the balls line up. Watch this. Slide it back. Oh wait. Let me do this because it sounds cool. Okay, ready? And now it's locked. It didn't click. It clicked earlier. It sounded really cool when it clicked. But the holes line up. That shit is locked. Crap, that's hot. That thing is locked in place. So we're just waiting on bearings, and this thing will be ready to fire up. Awesome. Good to go. Thanks for watching.